Today I'll begin the Platinum Trophy for Castle Crashers. There are a total of 13 trophies including the Platinum. Currently sits at a 5 out of 10 difficulty, requiring only one playthrough at around 20 hours. Stage 1, like every game, is to complete the story. For those that don't know, Castle Crashers is a beat-em-up brought to us by the Behemoth. They also made Alien Hominoid and Battle Block Theater. The game was originally an Xbox exclusive back in 2008, but since then it's found its way to the current gen. Anyways, let's get started. We begin our journey to an absolute jamming session with the boys, but that was cut short when a fellow knight broke through the door and barreled down the stairs to his death. This immediately set us into action. Okay, maybe not immediately. Once we decided to leave, we caught an evil wizard stealing a crystal from the king, so we went after him. We had barbarians to contend with, so we had to fight any of them that got in our way. We bore witness to the barbarians kidnapping the princesses, so it was up to us to get them back. Beating the next wave of enemies unlocked our first shop. It was a nice little shop selling health and a sword, but damn it, there's no time. We sprung back into action, only to come face to face with the war machine. It threw out bombs and other barbarians. Luckily for me, I was too quick for it. The same cannot be said for my colleague. It was only a matter of time until we found the machine destroyed, allowing us to venture forth into the gate that blocked us. But we had no issue breaking it down, because that's what we do. We then found ourselves in an arena with the big barbarian. I mean, a really big barbarian. So we quickly went to work, taking down a beast. Towards the end of the battle, my colleague was killed in war. However, I used his death as fuel for me to avenge him, thus striking the final blow, popping a trophy in the process, and bringing my friend back to life. We were rewarded with a massive payday. Then we freed the princess from captivity. She wanted to thank us properly, but only one of us, so we had to fight to the death. I had no choice. I literally just saved his life. Now I have to be the one to take it. How could I? It's like a brother to me. He's dead. I finished the mission unlocking a new knight and then leveled up. Our path then diverged into two paths, one to a dock and the other to a forest. We went to the dock first, only to be stopped by our crew saying that we need a few relics in order to set sail. That being a compass, a steering wheel, and a spyglass. So we turned right around and went back to the forest, where we found the other princesses and I made another friend. This barbarian tried to separate me and my buddy, so he kept ripping me away from him, so I cut his head clean off. After that, we found ourselves at the entrance to the actual forest, and I found my first animal orb. This one is an owl. More on that later. We were hot on the princess's tail, so we continued our efforts. It wasn't long until we found another pet. This time it was a seahorse. Making it through the forest, we started to fight trolls, which led to a boss fight of an even bigger troll. Luckily, his only move was to spawn more little trolls. It wasn't long until we beat it. That immediately started a chase through a mill by an even bigger troll, which led us to a river where we met the king and his knights while we battled the giant catfish. The king has a cannon on his ship, so as long as the cat's hairball doesn't hit the ship, we can stun it, allowing us to attack. That is, unless they miss. How could you? It wasn't long until we drowned it in the river. We washed up on shore only to be thrown into another boss fight, this time with the bear man. Once we finished with him, we caught up to the kidnappers, only to see them pass off the princesses to somebody else. That led us into a cave where we had a giant bat to fight. Beating him caused him to deflate down to normal size, letting us adopt him as a pet. That brought us to a castle. The entrance was sealed by a metal barrier. Even with the might of two castle crashers, we couldn't budge it. The king was laughing at us, kind of embarrassing, not gonna lie. We had no choice but to swallow our pride, turn around, and head back. We continued on to a flowery field as we needed to make it to the church. We were quickly attacked by some bees. To get to the church, we need to get launched in a catapult. That's where we can pop the trophy maximum firepower. We need to get flung at the maximum power. Landed on the church, we had some guards to deal with, then broke the ceiling and crashed the wedding. Wow. The Conehead groom planned on marrying the princesses against her will. Obviously that's not cool, so we need to put a stop to it. We had to get through a few waves of enemies first till we can fight the groom, and of course he needed to rub it in our faces that we can't play the piano. So he took breaks during the fight so he can show us his explosive skills. Dude certainly was no Beethoven, so we closed the curtain on him real quick, until his understudy came in. We then launched out of cannons to chase after them. We landed on a chariot and had to face the troll from earlier, only using arrows. After beating, we got smacked off, forcing us to continue on foot. We found the chariot. It was abandoned and being looted by thieves. Then we caught up to the turf war between the thieves and the Coneheads. We made it to the Cyclops, who still had over us killing his friend. I grew up already. He immediately attacked in hopes to get his revenge, but little did he know he'll be seeing his friend again. We saved the princess, which means we had to fight again. I don't know if I can go through with this again. The burden was too much to bear last time. He's dead. We made it to the lava world where we ran into the evil wizard and the necromancer, who did this. So that's cool. Then we came across an actual volcano we needed to fight. He was a little bit of a hothead. After we beat him, we found one of the relics that we needed up on a cliff. It was blocked off by a sock puppet and a dragon. The battle went pretty much like this. Just had to look out for the fire breath and a boulder. With not many options, I did what I had to do and I vanquished the beast as it fell on my fellow knight, killing him yet again. We got the wheel. That's all that matters. And we finally made it back to the castle. My friend popped his hammy and ripped the barrier right off. We were welcomed by some guards, and if that wasn't enough, there were traps set up. We made it to the prince. Instead of giving us a normal fight, he chose to be a coward and have us fight his machine. We had to break each of these nodes, then fight each arm. Once it blew up, the prince tried to escape with the necromancer, but he had a different idea. I did what any normal person would do and knock him right off the castle. We looked through the telescope to see a princess across the way as she captured by the Frost King. So we collected the telescope and made haste to the ship. The crew said we needed one last part. The only problem was we didn't know where it is. There it is. We had what we needed, ready to set sail, but we were attacked by pirates. They boarded our ship and needed to teach him a lesson. We came up on shore of a desert. There was a shovel there for the taking. There was also a trophy for the taking. Throughout the desert, there's little dig spots. To get the trophy treasure hunter, you need to dig up 10 of these spots. As we made our way through the desert, we encountered the same thing everyone else does. You guessed it, aliens. We had to fight a spacecraft along with a few aliens. Luckily, they went down easy. Then we encountered another which went down just as easy. Then we, got abducted. No biggie. We were surrounded by lasers. We had to use our archery skills to get out. Then we found the pilots and tripped the alarm, causing a swarm of aliens to bombard us. We cleared them only to be left with one brute who was working out while taking a shit. My kind of guy. He didn't want to fight. Instead, he smashed the console some more, triggering a self-destruct, which we had to find a way out of there. We died, so we had to go through all that again. Gotta say, this part though, with the, whatever these things are called, stanchions, yeah, really freaking necessary. Yep, I didn't make it. I guess it was payback for killing him so many times. We landed back in the desert where we stole some camels. We carried on and made it to be the hardest boss battle of the game, and that is Olibol. We were doing pretty good so far. We lost. So we went again. It was close, but we won. We got a nap. That took us to the flooded temple where we immediately turned around since we didn't have the horn needed to get in. So we went to the marsh instead. We ran into more skull dudes and even teamed up with these guys. We had to fight our way through a cemetery, only to find the necromancer and the wizard not only raising the dead but juicing them up. We found another animal, then it came to the cornfield. On the other side of the field was a boss fight. Go figure, we'd be fighting a giant piece of corn. At least he dropped food, so it could be a lot worse. Towards the end of the fight, he kept moving around and he was literally one hit. Thankfully, we got him. Our reward was the horn. So we went back to the temple to open the door. That's where we met some giant fish, followed by a bunch of more giant fish. After that, we found ourselves in Medusa's lair, which of course means another boss fight. She sends her snakes after you and even turns our ass to stone. But perhaps she hasn't heard, we're built different. We continued on throughout various terrains till we made it to the ice castle. That's where we found the princesses and of course the Frost King. He wasn't too bad. He spent a lot of time laughing at us, which again isn't nice, but towards the end of it, like the corn boss, he too just kept moving everywhere, only giving us a small window to get any damaging. But he too suffered the same fate and froze himself. So as usual, we had another payday and another duel, but I could not take his life for a third time. So I let him kill me instead. That brings us to the wizard castle where he decided to just uproot the land and ascend into the heavens. So we took off after him. That brought us to 4 doors, only one being open, so we went through that one, where we confronted the painter, whose paintings literally come to life. Other than the paintings, he was just walking around, so he wasn't too bad. Beating him gave us some food and another payday. Then we went to the next room where the giant crystal we had to destroy. Doing so opened the next room, which meant the next boss. They have us running the gauntlet. The next boss was the Cyclops from earlier, now we call it a Recyclops.
Good day, everyone. I'm Recyclops. Did you know that an old milk carton can be sawed in half and used as a planter?
He carried around a casket that had the groom from earlier in it, so we tried our best to stay away from him, while the Cyclops tries to smash us with the casket that he hops around on. We made sure to kill him properly this time. We had another gem to break to open another door. The next boss is the Necromancer, who brought back the enemies we fought throughout the game, like a good old family reunion. That went on a little too long. We died. Luckily, it's saved so we can just come right back. And this time we came ready. Taking him out left us with the Necromancer, who we beat, leading to another gem. Opening another door, this time to an elevator, which took us to the wizard. He controlled 4 crystals that we had to destroy. Destroying all 4 crystals made the wizard come down. He came down in a bubble. It turns out that the blue bubble means you need to use magic to attack him, and the red bubble means that you can hit him. Wish we knew that earlier, because we were not doing a damn thing. Eventually it clicked, so we got him. But he ballooned up, turned into a piñata. Once we beat him again, the game tried to be funny and give us a treasure chest, only for him to climb out as a giant frickin' spider. We managed to get him again, but at the cost of my friend's life. So I brought him back, only for the wizard to balloon up again. We beat him another time, hoping this would finally come to an end, but he called upon a fiery sword. That empowered him, making him able to rain down hellfire and do this spin move. And of course, he killed my friend again, and he would not let me revive him. So I knew I would have suffered the same fate had I not locked in. And that's exactly what I did. I killed the wizard, popping the final trophy for beating the game, and we rode the gem all the way back to our home. We celebrated with another jamming session. As the king came with the last princess, having us do it one last time so she can thank us for a job well done. I killed him one more time, and it was no princess. The end. So my friend didn't actually get the trophy for beating the game since he was dead when I killed the wizard, so we had to run it back. Also, there's another trophy where you need to kiss all 4 princesses, so we had to run this one back anyway. We went back to the Cyclops too so you can kiss the princess. Then it was back to the Frost King for me, kissing the princess got me the trophy. Then it was back at the start of the game for the trophy Conscientious Objector. We need to go to the castle all the way to the barbarian boss without killing an enemy. So I just sat back and relaxed while my friend did all the work. I returned the favor right after. We went over to the arena after that, which we duked it out 1v1 style for the trophy Arena Master, where you needed to win 40 matches. We just took turns killing each other over and over again until the trophy eventually popped. Next trophy requires a few steps. We first had to complete the King's Arena, which is where we needed to fight waves of enemies for the King's amusement. Beating the waves unlocks the Barbarian as a playable character. Then we needed to beat the Barbarian boss yet again, which pops the trophy the Traitor. So up until now, the trophies haven't been too difficult. We even questioned its rating since it was set at a 5 out of 10. That is before we found out about a new game mode that was added in the remaster called Back Off Barbarian. What this is a tabletop minigame where you're a cutout character on a board and you need to avoid the barbarians that are coming after you. Sounds easy, but the catch is that the controls are mixed up. You must press the button that is shown on the tile instead of the direction you want to go. For instance, if I'm on the tile and I want to move up, I can't press up. Pressing up would move me left. To go up, I would need to press right. To go down, I need to press up. And to go right, I need to press left. It changes with each step you take. So you need to make sure you hit the right button while evading the barbarians that are after you. Oh yeah, and you need to make it to 2 minutes and 30 seconds. At first we were hopeful, we were having fun, getting a feel for it, even played a few games together in co-op. Then some time went by and we started to take it more seriously since we couldn't even get remotely close to 2 minutes. Then a few hours went by, we were past the early stages and moved on to the locked stage. Then the stage went on too long and we immediately went through the stages of grief. We both were beside ourselves in utter disbelief that this was as hard as it is. We had a massive amount of cope, coming to the realization that the clock in the game isn't based on real time. So survive until 2 minutes in the game would already be 2 minutes and 30 seconds in the real life. This took hours. It took so long I didn't even record most of my attempts. But we ended up taking a much needed break so that we can go over to the abandoned mill where we can get the trophy Deer Trainer. For that we need to get through the mill without hitting any obstacle in our way. Luckily this was an easy one. Then it was right back to Back Off Barbarian. To add another layer here, my friend was actually at work while I was trying to get this done. He had just finished his shift and he was getting on in a few minutes, so I knew it's now or never. So I buckled in with only one goal, to survive. And survive I did. I had to re-record it off the trophy capture since I was not expecting to get it here. With that done, we finished the hardest trophy in this game, which leaves us only 2 trophies left. The next trophy we went back to the Barbarian boss yet again. This time we dusted off the old controllers since we needed 4 players for this trophy. We had to revive all fallen players in co-op. So I sat and watched as he killed my comrades so I can revive them, thus propping the trophy. That brings us to the last trophy in the game, which is to collect all animal orbs. So up until this point I thought we were doing good. We had collected a good bit throughout the playthrough, so it was safe to assume that we can go grab the ones we missed and buy the rest. So we did that. We went through the levels again to find the ones we missed and kept track along the way. Then it came down to the ones in the Insane store, which is only available after beating the game. So we saved up money, visited the store and purchased the 2 that were available. Then we opened up the locked door in the Ark by getting the key. This is when we expected the trophy to pop, but it didn't. So we went through again. Since it wasn't co-op, I thought maybe I never picked up the same ones my friend did. So we went back to our own game and paired up with each one again, and still no trophy. This is when the panic started to set in. Because coming this far for a glitch trophy isn't going to be how this journey ends. We found out that there's another animal that we don't have, this one being a golden whale. The whale is only available at the church store on Insane mode. So, desperate times calls for desperate measures. We saddled up one last time and got through the game on Insane mode, which is no easy feat since Insane mode gives the enemies 10 times more health, and checkpoints are less frequent, so if you die you gotta start over. Luckily we only needed to make it to about a third of the way through the game, so we made it to the church, bought the animal, and still nothing. Turns out he wasn't even needed. There was 29 animals in this game and 28 are needed excluding the whale. So all that was for nothing. Wonderful. Now we officially deemed this trophy glitched, and we weren't the only ones to encounter this. Being that, you put yourself at risk of this happening when playing in co-op. Being out of options, I ran back through each level again, collecting animals I already had in hopes that the trophy would just pop, but it never did. I ran through the list in order again, collecting each animal one by one in hopes for this trophy. I found myself going back to the snow store where Pazzo was for sale, and this happened. I have no idea how I missed this. It added so much time to this platinum. We were getting ready on calling it quits and started from scratch. Thankfully it wasn't necessary. So there's the platinum for Castle Crashers. I did play this game when I was younger back on the 360, so I'm glad I was able to return it again, this time getting a platinum trophy. I just hope my next platinum doesn't give me this much stress. I should be ready soon. Here's another teaser. Till then, bye.